Hey guys! Welcome to episode 6 of the Treasures of Public Health History series with the Plague Professor. I'm back from a little hiatus, found my professor glasses, which mysteriously went missing for a few days, and I'm ready to talk to you about something a little bit more lighthearted. Cocaine toothache drops, which has nothing to do with plagues or epidemics, but I thought we could all use a little break from talking about plagues just for a moment. And cocaine toothache drops, actually, that whole idea is connected to an important moment in the history of public health. So let me give you a little background. So, starting around the 1820s, we start to see pharmaceutical companies, starting with Bayer, developing chemically produced versions of narcotics derived from opium. So opium has a very long history prior to its sort of medicinal and pharmaceutical use in the 19th century. So I don't have time to talk about that today. But in 1820 or the 1820s, Bayer Pharmaceuticals created a chemically produced form of opium called morphia that was sort of touted as a wonder drug and lauded for its sort of narcotic properties. So also in the 19th century, so by 1860, in the 1850s and 1860s, the cocaine was isolated from coca leaves. So coca leaves also have a really long history of use in the Amazon and the Andes Mountains. But cocaine was first chemically extracted from the leaves by chemists for medical use in the 1850s and 60s. And so that's what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about today. Because until about 1906, with the passage of the Pure Food and Drug Act, there really were not any regulations in the United States. And cocaine and morphia and sort of derivatives of opium really were often sold over the counter until 1906. So here are a couple of examples. So after cocaine was isolated from the coca leaf, its pain relieving or analgesic and its anesthetic properties were very quickly realized, particularly its dental applications. And initially, some dentists of the time started using a solution containing cocaine to apply to a patient's gum before removing their teeth, so the experience could be relatively pain-free. And these dental applications were also not lost upon this particular company that marketed these cocaine toothache drops in 1885 in Albany, New York. And so, as you can see, it was pretty easy to purchase over-the-counter products containing cocaine. So, similar to the cocaine toothache drops, Mrs. Winslow's soothing syrup was also promoted for pediatric use. Now, Mrs. Winslow's soothing syrup was first developed by a pediatric nurse named Charlotte Winslow who lived in Maine. She first produced it in 1849 and then actually patented it. And its main active ingredient was morphine. And it was promoted as an effective treatment for crying babies, teething children, or children with dysentery or diarrhea, because it essentially had a sort of constipating effect. So ultimately, Mrs. Winslow didn't actually have to disclose the active ingredient, so she didn't have to list morphine on the label because, again, until the Pure Food and Drug Act of 1906, there was no legal requirement to do so. So after the Pure Food and Drug Act was passed in 1906, subsequently she was required to list morphine, and when it sort of became apparent that morphine could be somewhat problematic, she was later forced to remove it, and her soothing syrup was eventually denounced by the American Medical Association in 1911. So there really isn't any data that gives us accurate numbers of the children who died as a result of taking this morphine-laced syrup, as a result of overdose or, addiction and withdrawal. But at any rate, the Pure Food and Drug Act of 1906 would ultimately regulate the use of these products. So that's it for today. Plague Professor out. See you soon.